Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Gottlieb Target Alpha. This is a very cool game that came out in the 70s from Gottlieb. And we've been working through it a little bit. We're getting down to where it's pretty much kind of almost playable. But we need to work through the last little bit of it. So if you didn't see the other videos that we did on it, go back and check those out. We did one where we redid the playfield, shopped it, did a little paint on it. We did one where we did a lot of work on the inside of the cabinet. So we've been through it a little bit. I think this is the third or fourth video. I don't know. We're moving along. But we got to get it going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pad of paper. We're going to play it a little bit. And then we're going to make a list of everything that's not working right. And then we're going to systematically go through it and knock it out. So that's what we'll do. Let me go get a pad of paper and we'll try playing it. I'll put it on a tripod so you can see what's going on. All right, so the game is turned off. It has 5 credits on it. Let's hit start and see if she'll start. We've got scores on the first player. Let's see if those reset. Didn't we go through this once before? So it's subtracting a credit. I think it was doing the same thing on the first video. Subtracts a credit. Doesn't start. All right, so I guess we got to figure that out first. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so this is really deep in the weeds schematic stuff, but that's what you want to see, right? So these are the schematics for Target Alpha. Now, if you need schematics for your Gottlieb pinball machine, you need to order them from the Pinball resource. Gottlieb still owns, or there is a company that owns the right to all of their intellectual property, and they don't like people making copies of the stuff. This is actually an original copy. All of the machines originally came with schematics. But over the years, people lose them and things. Well, some of the companies, they allow you to just make copies and float them around the internet and everything. But Gottlieb doesn't like that. So if you're going to buy, if you need some schematics, you need to buy them from the Pinball resource. They sell them and make really nice copies that are, just as big as the original ones and very clean and easy to use. And by them doing that, they make a little money on it. So that allows them to reproduce other parts that we need for the pinball machine. So respect their wishes. Now I'm telling you all that because I'm going to show you a little bit of the schematics, but I want to make sure that people don't think that I'm trying to disseminate their product. Is that the word? They're good people. They do a lot for the pinball community, mainly just by making nice parts that we need for these machines. So if we don't support them in any way, a lot of the stuff they make may not be available. I mean, they make every little thing you need for the mechanics of this machine, so it's a really cool thing. Okay, so the game, basically when you hit start, it just takes a credit. Now, it went up to 4 and then stopped. Now it won't do anything when I push the button. Well, it's off right now, but when I push the button, it stopped. That's because the coin unit got up to 4. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this, but it's very complex. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. And again, we already worked on this a little bit in the first video, I believe. So here is the replay button. When I hit that, it was making a credit disappear. So all of this must have been doing something, right? So if you look at, let me see where it subtracts a coin. No, not subtracts a coin. Subtracts a replay. Where is subtract a replay? What makes that happen, as long as you're not at the 0 position on the replay unit, is the motor turning and a switch closing on V, and that will only work if S is closed. Okay. All right. So the replay button, relay, is V. So what does that tell us? Since it's subtracting a replay, this must be working because V has to close for that to happen. And then strangely, S has to be closed too, the start relay, and that's happening. So V is closing, a switch is closing on itself, which is then allowing the button to energize the start relay. The start relay, through a switch on itself, holds itself on the power until the motor turns and opens that switch. I know this is all very complex, right? So basically what I'm saying is, for it to subtract a replay, we know that the V relay was working and we know the start relay is working. Now that doesn't mean that every switch on those relays is working right, but they're at least turning on. Okay? Now when I get up to 4, it won't let me do it anymore. Why is that? It's because if you look in that train here, that trail, I'm hitting this, so W can't be open or whatever that is. Looks like a W. Maybe it's an H. One of these two has to be closed. Either the 4th position coin unit has to be closed, switch, or the DX relay has to be closed. So we worked on this coin unit in one of the videos. Basically, when it gets to the 4th position, there is a switch that opens. And if you look, we're at the 4th position because I pressed the button 4 times, and it did open that switch. So since that switch is open, if that's the only way to start the game with the replay button, we can't, right? So what happened was we tried to start a 4-player game, but it never actually started. And then that switch opened. Well, now we're screwed. I can't even get the replay button to come in now, because this must not be closed. The DX switch, the switch on the DX relay. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, if you look at the DX relay is used for other things too, right? Obviously, the DX relay is the first ball relay. So you're not going to get the game to start if that's messed up. Now that's a latching relay. So it has 2 coils on it. One pulls it in, one resets it. So what's going on is that thing is in one position and not back the other way. So because of that, the game won't start. So when I'm hitting it, it's just blah, blah, blah. Once I get up to 4, since that's not closed, I can't hit it again. Now, why would that even matter? Let's say you play a 4-player game. Where is your coin unit going to be? It's going to be on the 4th position. Okay, well, when you start your next game, it's at the 4th position, right? So because of that, that switch is going to be open. So you need this one closed so that you can start a 1-player game or whatever after this has already been opened. That's why they've got it in there 2 different ways. You know, they can't just have the coin unit do it, because they'd have to reset the coin unit at the end of every game, right? So anyway, so this DX relay, how does that close? How is that supposed to be doing what it's doing? Well, it's up here. It's the first ball relay. And the way it gets power, we need that to close. The way it gets power is there is a switch on itself that's normally closed. And then it gets power through the H relay, a normally closed switch. The H relay is the tilt hold relay. And then it comes back and blah, 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 and it connects to the transformer. So the only thing that it can be is that switch on itself isn't connected right, or that H relay isn't connected right, or so you can also get power through a little loop around here on that R relay. This is all very complex, you know. So it should get power from that or from that. It's got to be this switch. So there must be a switch on the DX relay that's supposed to be closed that isn't. Something's not quite right. I didn't get it quite right when I went through it. So it's a brown and black wire that connects to the other side of the switch. Probably has a jumper that connects to the coil. So let's see if we can find that. Alright, so it's this bottom switch here. It looks like it's connected. Wow, went too far. It looks like it's connected, but it must not be connected. So I'm going to bend it a little bit, clean it a little bit, and that should get us going again. So it's easy enough to check. If I've got it right, when I turn on the power, it should just click on. Did it? I think it did, didn't it? Let's try it again. Yes, I'll zoom in more. Maybe you can see it jump. Yep, did you see it? Very little movement in those Gottlieb latching relays. But I think that's going to fix our problem. Look, and as soon as we turn it on now, we get all of our playfield lights too. Is that correct? See, on the back glass we've got game over, and we don't have tilt. Let me see if that's right. Okay, folks, so the playfield lights are only on if the tilt hold relay is in. The tilt hold relay should only come on when the O relay comes in, which is the ball return relay, so that's not supposed to be in, or if the AX relay has thrown. The AX relay is the reset control relay. So it shouldn't be pulled in, okay, because we're not playing a game. Now the AX control, reset control relay, you can imagine, is what makes everything reset. Now remember, ours isn't doing that. So the AX reset control relay gets its power only if the DX relay, which is the one we were just messing with, has thrown, which it has now, right? First ball relay. And when the start relay pulls in. So remember, what the problem we were getting was the start relay was pulling in, but the game wasn't resetting. That's because this relay was never coming on, and the reason it was never coming on is because the DX latching relay had not tripped. But you saw now we're getting it to work. Okay. So why was the H tilt hold relay whatever on, allowing the playfield lights to be on? I don't know. I turned it off and back on, and it came right up, and the playfield lights aren't on, and it says tilt like it should. So that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to put it back down, and then we'll try this one more time with feeling. We're going to see if we can get it to start, and I can at least freaking play the thing, and then I can know what I need to fix. All right, this thing needs to cooperate. Can you tell that I've been sick a little bit? My voice isn't quite what it's supposed to be. But I'm getting over it. I didn't completely lose my voice this time. But I'm feeling a little stronger today. That's why I'm yelling so much. Okay, so let's see if we can get it to reset this time. So this is what we tried just a few minutes ago. We have fixed the DX relay switch. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't work. It kind of worked, but it didn't really work. Okay, so it reset for a while. I think we're probably in gameplay. Yeah. It reset for a while. It stopped at 5,780 points on the first player. It did reset the drop targets, so that's good. It didn't kick the ball out. That's not good. It says player 1, ball and play 1, and one player can play at the same time. So it halfway reset. So we got to figure that out. So same thing. How would you determine what the problem must be? Well, we've got a couple clues. So you look for clues and try to figure it out. So one of the clues is the score reels didn't reset all the way. So whatever they hold on until they get to 0, that's not working right. Okay? And then the ball didn't kick out of the out hole, so there's something going on there too. So that's kind of our 2 clues that we should be able to figure it out with. It's like a Sherlock Holmes thing. You look at the evidence, like Sherlock Holmes said, if you find one little piece of evidence, you ought to be able to go backwards and figure out everything that must have happened for that evidence to get there, right? So we find 2 little things. We've got 2. He only had 1. Of course, he was fake, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. We've got 2 clues, so we ought to be able to figure it out. So I'll write the 2 clues down, and then we'll see if we can deduce back through it and figure out where the one switch must be messed up. Okay, so here is like the most convoluted section of the entire schematics. I'm trying to do these videos in a little different order than I usually do them, just so that we get more interesting stuff that we can show in the video. More problems that people might run into. So let me show you this. The way the player reels are reset is by the first and second player reset relay, which is Z1, and the third and fourth player reset relay, which is Z2. Now, the third and fourth player are already reset, but the first and second player are not reset. So the way this works on these machines is they have a player unit in the back box with a whole bunch of different positions on it. And it just moves around in one direction. So it goes from position 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And there's this wiper on it that goes around and makes everything work. Well, it goes to a certain position whenever it's resetting. So let's say it starts here. And it moves around to like position 20 or whatever, wherever it's supposed to go. Because you're playing a 5-ball game, 4 players. There's like 20 positions. There may actually be more. And it only moves in one direction. So whenever it resets, it has to go from position 20 or whatever it's at, and then go back around to wherever 1 is. They use that to reset everything. So it'll step up to a certain position and make some stuff reset, and then step up to another position and make some stuff reset. So that's what all of this is. It's a very complex area. And this is showing you what makes it step from ball to ball and all of that, right? So what happened was it went around to the first position, ball in play number 1, 1 player, when it shouldn't have. It should have reset the scores first, right? So this one, for instance, Z1, when the reset control relay throws, it connects through a resistor and starts holding that on, right? And then that starts all of the score reels resetting. All right. I'm thinking that was supposed to be held in place by the 20th position on the player unit until they all reset, and then it moves to the next position, and that's held in place on the 21st. I don't know. I think that's what's going on, but that resistor may be able to hold it on. We'll have to look at that. But you can see here that it starts resetting all of the scores. And where's Z1? Z1 is the first one that it does. Well, there's a normally connected switch on Z1 that will open that. While you're playing the game, that's not pulled in because you're not resetting, right? So the power can just go through and get straight to the add player unit. So I think it let the player unit go forward because that switch closed. So I think the relay probably closed before it should have. Normally it would reset everything, and then when each score reel gets back to its home position, it closes a switch. Well, once all the switches are closed, power can connect through and tell the player unit to advance. Well, then it advances, and then now it has to do it with the other one, right? Or it's something like that. So we got something back there. So I think what I need to do is clean that player unit. We haven't even cleaned that yet. So I think that's our next thing. There's also a bunch of switches there involved with the reset specifically that we need to clean and check out and make sure all of that's good. Usually I do that before I even start trying to troubleshoot stuff, but I'm trying to show what more broke pinball machines look like. So let me slide it out from the wall and we'll clean that player unit up. So here is the player unit. You can see all the different positions. I think we're at position 20 now. And like I said, it only goes one direction, so let's count them. So notice we're up here. I think that's 20. We'll just call the next one 1, although I'm not sure if it's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So there's 29 or 30 positions. And you can see on the back, look at all of these switches that are riding on cams. It's just it's very similar to the score motor, right? So you can see them all move as we step through the positions. So that's, I think we're at 5 now or whatever. And this is how they control, you know, which player. Okay, so watch this. I can explain it to you by looking at it, I think. I'm going to guess, but player 1, ball 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. Player 1, ball 2, player 2, player 3, player 4. Player 1, ball 3, 2, 3, 4. Player 1, ball 4, 2, 3, 4. Player 1, ball 5, 2, 3, 4. Game over, right? Or maybe that it just stayed where it was for game over. Did I lose track? Did I lose count? So some of these other positions, it's using to reset stuff. So you'll see it go through them again. It's using that to reset things, depending on the position that it's at. So it's complex, but it's not a bad design. It's a damn good design. Like they really put a lot of thought into it. So, but there's a lot of stuff going on there, and we haven't cleaned it. So I'm going to clean all of these rivets, and I'm going to drop this down. You can take the screw out, and usually it has like hinges. Yeah, back here. You know, you can drop it down and look at the other side and clean all of those switches and all those contacts to make sure they're making good contact. So that's next. Okay, so after cleaning all of that, interestingly, all of the, you can't tell because it's daylight out now, but all of the 4 players are lit up. It wasn't doing that before. It says 4 players can play at the same time, and it's tilted like we determined that it should. The game over light is blinking with the blinking bulb. Let's see if I hit start, if it's able to reset the scores. Yeah. Okay. So we Sherlock Holmes one problem, but we haven't figured out why it doesn't kick the ball out yet. So let's go see if we can figure that out. It did pop up our one drop target as well. And we're in gameplay. I didn't have the ball in the game. As soon as I put it in, it kicked it over. Okay, let's set up the tripod again and play it a little bit and see what other problems we can figure out. All right. Ooh, I overshot it. Okay, is that a kicker up there at the top? Okay, the kicker's a little anemic. Come on now. Okay, did you see that? Left pop bumper stuck down. Did you hear it buzzing? That was it trying to slap that crap up. Slap the crap up. Okay, left pop sticks. Now, you know, I went to school. I was educated in America. I can read it. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is. People complain. I don't know. I can read it. It did it again. I saw it. Now, one of the most amazing things about this game is the way it counts down the bonuses. So at the end of each ball, it gives you 1,000 points for each drop target that's down. See, it says bonus value 1,000 each lit spot. The light lights when the target drops. Okay, and it says it up there as well. Bonus value 1,000 each lit spot. So at the end of the ball, you'll hear it go. And if it's checking the drop targets in order. And when it gets the one that's dropped, it goes doom. So it'll go like it's just awesome. We got to figure out if that. Okay, well, listen. Did you hear it? So it goes through and it's going. Okay, so let's play it by hand a little bit. What do you think about that? Let's see if we can figure out if it's actually scoring properly. So we're on ball number 4 right now. Had a couple people come in. Let's see here. This says 500. Extra ball when lit and special. So we're at 23,200. The other one. Okay, and I haven't cleaned the score reels yet. Same thing up here, 500 or 5,000 when lit. We're good. Okay, now the little stand up here. Locked on. Why would it do that? All right, that ain't good. Okay, so I hit this one, and then you heard it, ding, and then it just sat there, right? That's not good. So I got to figure out why that is. It shouldn't have locked on like that. Okay, so here's the 10-point relay. Here are the 10-point contacts. So I hit one of those, and it went ding, and then you heard something go boo, like it was locked in. When I turned the game off, I reset it after that and did it again, but when I turned the game off, the score stayed at 0. Okay? So that tells me what's wrong with it. Basically, we pulled in the 10-point relay, but the 10-point relay, the switches on it, didn't pull in the score reel. And we know that because when I turned the game off, the score reel didn't flip over to 10. So when the score reel pulls in, it pulls in like this, and then whenever it releases, that's when it turns the score reel. So if you kill the power, if it's stuck, if the score reel is stuck in, when you kill the power, it'll advance at 1 point. But it did not. So it's never pulling in the first player 10-point score reel. Okay? There is a switch on the 10-point relay itself that holds itself on until a switch opens on the first player 10-point score reel, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. So the reason they do that is so that this stays on long enough to pull that coil all the way back on the score reel and then push it forward. So it's so that if you just barely hit the target, that's 10 points, that locks the coil on until it's sure that the score reel is pulled all the way in. And when it pulls in, it opens up a switch, which turns off the score reel, which then turns off the power to which turns off the 10-point relay, which then turns off the power to the score reel, and click, lets it go back forward. So since it didn't advance whenever we turned it off, it's got to be the switch on the 10-point relay isn't making good enough contact to turn the score reel. So, and again, we're kind of doing all of this out of order. I've been trying to do the last couple series of videos to show you what happens if you don't clean all the switches first. You run into crap like this. If I would have cleaned the 10-point relay already, I would have noticed that that switch isn't connecting, hopefully. And we wouldn't have this problem, right? So you catch a lot of that stuff when you're going through cleaning it. So remember the pop bumper locked on too, the left pop bumper. Well, that's a similar problem. So what turns it on is a switch on the B relay. The B relay is the right and left pop bumper relay. And the way it gets turned on is there's a switch on the left pop bumper or the right pop bumper. If you hit either one, both pop bumpers go off because either one turns on the B relay, which turns on both pop bumpers. Okay, well then it holds itself on until a normally closed switch on either one of the pop bumpers opens up. Right? So when the left one was locked on, I don't know, the right one should have been locked on. It could be that these switches here, see how there's two switches for the B relay? One for each thing. It could be that those are adjusted really close, and so it just kind of locks on. So that's what we need to look at for that, just to make sure that that thing doesn't lock on. Because what will happen is it'll lock on for about 30 seconds, and then it'll toast that coil. So I just messed with the apron a little bit, the skirt a little bit, and I got it to stick. So when that's happening, when the skirt gets stuck like that, you need to kind of reposition this top spoon part, if I can do it. Basically, usually it's because that's not up high enough. Yeah, see, it'll still stick. So that's our problem. So we got to keep messing with that. We got to get it where that skirt pin there is right in the center and doesn't get jammed whenever it gets to one side like that. All right, so let's try it one more time. Nothing better than a pinball machine that decided to act right. All right. This too much. All right, folks, I think we probably got it. Very cool. We did those. We got a light bulb out there, obviously. Let's see if that looks like it's gonna stick. All right, that seems all right, but we'll have to play it a little bit. This, I noticed it wasn't all that bouncy earlier, but it's not a kicker. It's just a switch. These weren't all that kicky either. So they're going to need a little work. Sometimes it's because we've got the wrong rubber ring on there. I might have to put a bigger one that makes it a little bouncier. Okay, I want to see if these are scoring right, the drop targets, right? Because we've checked pretty much everything else. This is 1,000. Okay. Yeah, so let's see what happens when I get one. Remember, we fixed that wiring. It's giving me 300, is that right? 4070. Huh. What in the world? I wouldn't have guessed that. I was wondering why it was ringing 3 times. Let's see what the top ones do. Same thing. Okay, so this light should give us 5,000. We're going to check out that 300 thing, people. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, people. This should give us 5,000. And it did. Okay. So watch when we lose the ball. Watch how it counts. It'll start just rapid fire. Da-da-da-da-da, and it'll do about 5 of them, and then it's going to catch those 3 that are dropped, and it's going to go ding, 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 da-da, ding, 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 ding. Watch how cool this is. Maybe that worked. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. We'll have to... I guess I should have paid attention to the actual... Yeah, let's do that. So let's drop some. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are down. I should get a 6,000 point bonus. I got a 5,000 point bonus. We're having issues. Very complex game, people. It's got a lot going on. All right. Let's see if the 300 thing is correct. Okay, so here are the drop target switches. Now remember, we changed this because they had hacked it up. This is one of the most clever things I've seen. I mean, I'm sure they do this on all the games, but this is so clever. So whenever you hit one of the switches, depending on if you're on 3-ball or 5-ball, different things happen. So these are all the drop target switches. They pull in the score control relay. Okay, so this is like why you're actually playing, right? So they will pull in the score control relay C. Now if you're on 5-ball, you have the 5-ball plug moved over to 5-ball instead of 3-ball. The side drop target switches do the same. They will pull in the score control relay C. The only difference would be if you had these set on 3-ball, you would then have the ability to select 500 points or 2,000 points for each drop target. Okay, and this is during gameplay. This is not the bonus. Okay, see it says side drop target score adjustment, 3-ball only. So they had changed this with wiring and stuff, and I was talking about how they did it just so they could screw everybody out of some points. They did not. My first assumption was correct. It was set up like that to give you more points. And so I mentioned in that video as well that, was that this video? I don't think it was this video. It was a previous video. All these videos run together, people. I just keep filming and then cut them up later, right? But usually on a 3-ball game, they make it a little harder to play. No, I'm sorry. They make it a little easier to play on a 3-ball game. They make it a little harder to play on a 5-ball game because you have more balls. You can play longer. So they make it where it's easier to get points when you only have 3 balls. Right? So you can adjust this from 500 points to 2,000 points if you're on 3-ball, right? But we're not. We're on 5-ball. So this adjustment isn't even used. So no matter which drop target gets hit, the score control relay C pulls in. Now look at this. This is just clever. So you see it's giving us 300 points, not 500 points. Okay, so here's the 100-point relay. And here is the C relay. This is the one that is pulling in whenever we drop a drop target. Okay, well, if you look back here, let me look down here actually. Yeah. The C relay turns on the score motor. The score motor will turn until the C relay turns off, right? And it holds itself on to its next home position until the C relay turns off, okay? So let's go back up to our 100-point relay. So what happens is, if I can find it, what happens is the C relay closes. That also turns on the score motor. The score motor starts turning, and this switch at motor 1A will close. Okay, well, they have a timing chart down here. Now, this is like deep in the weeds stuff, but motor 1A, you see impulses 5 times. So we're sitting right here at the home position at 0, right? So once it starts turning, when it gets here, 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 and here, that switch will close. So that's 500 points, right? So it should be giving us 500 points because that switch is going to close 5 times. So the score motor starts turning, and it gets to position about 25 degrees, and it closes. Okay, then you go through here. This is relay D. That one is not pulled in, so it's set up like it is, so the power goes this way. And then there is a switch on motor 1B that's closed. And then there is an adjustment for the 3 and 5 ball that jumpers over a switch on motor 4C. Remember I was saying this is very complicated? There is a normally closed switch on motor 2C, and then C is closed, right? Because that's our score control relay. That's what's closing when we drop the drop target. And then it connects up here, and again, we're on 5 ball, so it connects over to here and connects to the 100-point relay. So here's the brilliant part. See these 3 switches here? Let's look at motor 2C. So the score motor starts turning, and this is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But what happens at motor 2C? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when it gets to the second one, motor 2C is going to open. So since that switch is open right there, this impulse isn't going to work. So what's really going to happen is, as the motor turns, it's going to go ding and give us 100 points, and then it's going to go to here, it ain't going to give us nothing because 2C's open. And then it's going to go to here and it's going to go ding and give us 100 points. And then guess what? It's going to get the motor 1B. So when it gets to here, 1B is going to be open. So that impulse won't give us points because the string will be broke. And then it'll get to here and go ding. So it goes ding, ding, ding. 1, 2, 3. So to make it 300 points, they just put some random switches in there that open at a certain time, just for the heck of it. Now, why would they do this 3-ball adjustment thing here? Well, this motor 4C, let's see what it does. "4C opens here, so it would cancel that one. So that would leave you with just this one and this one. Why would they do that? It's because they're going to set it up to give you 1,000 instead of 100, and they only wanted you to get 2 of them. Or else you'd get 3,000, you know what I mean? So the whole thing, yeah, see, if you were on 3-ball, you would miss this one as well, so it would only hit twice, but it would hit the 1,000-point relay. Pretty crazy high-end stuff, folks. High-end stuff. All right, so we got to figure out why it's not counting all the bonuses, though. All right, the video is getting long, so this is the last one we're going to be able to do in this one. But so here's the bonus score control relay. Basically, when the ball lands in the out hole, this is at the end of a ball. That's when you score the bonus. When it lands in the out hole, if there is any bonus that has been scored, well, no, I got that wrong. It lands in the out hole. This bonus unit only counts the bonus. It doesn't actually move while you're playing, right? So it will be sitting like this most of the time. So this switch is connected, right? So power connects through here, right? This DX is the first ball relay, so if you scored any point at all, this will be closed. And then the bonus score control relay comes on G. Okay, it then holds itself on until this switch opens on the bonus unit. Okay, so what that does is it starts adding the bonus unit. So it starts adding it up. That's the clicking you're hearing. And it's doing it when all these switches line up, right? So the normally closed K relay, K is the double bonus relay. Yeah, that makes sense. So if the double bonus relay isn't pulled in, that's connected, and so every time motor 4A hits, it will step up the bonus unit. Okay, so 4A is another cam that impulses 5 times, or another switch on the cam that impulses 5 times. Okay, so the bonus unit, as it goes through, starting at the bottom, right? Each one of these that's dropped, as this bonus unit goes through, it's going to connect power. As long as the G relay is on, the bonus control relay, as long as that switch is closed, it's going to connect power to the 1,000-point relay. So as this steps through, any one of them that's dropped, that's how you, so it's doing it really quick. It's going, that's why you hear it in 3 little bursts, because it's doing those 5 impulses, and then it's getting back to a home position on the cam, and then it's doing it again, right? And then again. So as it's doing it, when it gets to one that's closed, that switch is closed, it fires the 1,000-point relay. So the problem we're having is probably just the switches are dirty on the drop targets. I didn't clean them good enough or something. Or it could be the rivets on the bonus unit, but the same thing, I already cleaned those, so it should be fine, but something's going on. You may be able to track it down where you can tell that it's missing this one. If 6 is ever down, it doesn't get counted, etc., etc. Now, the interesting thing about this, though, is, let me see if I can find it. Where were we? We were looking at G, and then we looked over here. Yeah. Is the timing of the thing. That's if the double bonus relay is not pulled in. If that's pulled in, then that's open. So then the only way for that to fire is when the motor hits these locations. So when 4D comes around, it will do it. So 4D is right at the beginning. So that will make the thing fire. Right? When that closes, that will already be closed. It will make the bonus unit step up. And then also, when 4A, 2D, or 3B align, it will do it. So 4A, 2D, so that would be this one. And then the other one is 3B. That would be this one. So it does it a lot slower. So it's basically, instead of being able to go, it has to give you 2,000 each time, right? So it slows it down. And let me see if I can turn that on and you can see the difference. I'll show you what it does when it counts down the normal bonus, and then how slow it goes when it counts down the double bonus, because it has to do different math with different parts of the scoring. I mean, with different parts of the score motor. All of this crap is just brilliant. I can't even believe they came up with all this, but the way to understand how they did it was it was all incremental. They started out with a table that didn't have anything on it. And then somebody came up with the idea, hey, let's put a battery in it so we can turn a light bulb on. And then somebody said, hey, when the ball lands in this hole, have that switch turn the light bulb on. And then somebody said, hey, when the ball hits this, have this come on and then kick the ball back. And it just went from there, and it just grew and grew and grew. So all of this is very complex and layered on top of each other and everything, but it's because this is what is this, 76. So this is one of the last Gottlieb electromechanical pinball machines. They were the masters of these things. So there's it's just a brilliant design, you know? Just little things like how do you double the bonus? Like how do you make that count twice as much as it did just a second ago? So they have to come up with this whole elaborate thing to make it work, and they pull it off with no problem. So let me show you how it does it normally, and then I'll figure out how to turn the double bonus on, and then I'll show you how it does it when you have the double bonus. All right, so the way you get double bonus is it's on the last ball. So this is ball 4. So let's just watch how you get the bonus at the end of this ball. Listen how quick it is. It's like a machine gun. All right, now check it out. Listen to it. See how quick that went? But now look, we got double bonus. Now listen how slow it does it this time. Oh, well. Okay, listen how slow it goes. It sounded like it screwed up. I think we still got problems with it. It was doing it, doo-doon, doo-doon. It went doo-doon, doo-doon. And then I think it went too quick here, but it's a tough one, folks. We're going to get to it, though. It just takes a lot of time to get some of these going. There's just so much in them. You know what I mean? There's like, it works fine right now, but it ain't right. You know, it's not there. It needs a bunch of little stuff still. You got to check all this crap, or it's not as fun. It's supposed to give you 2,000 for each one. I mean, yeah, 2,000 for each one right now. But I don't think it did that. I wasn't paying attention to the score. I think it screwed us up. It didn't sound quite right. But you see, I'm trying to show you some of the cool things of the game, just what makes it interesting, and this is, you know, one of their masterpieces. But to be honest, they had about 30 games that are this damn cool, that had all kinds of cool stuff going on in them. This just happens to be a pretty unique one. All right, so that's it for now. Like I said, the show's too long tonight, folks. I mean, I know I talk a lot, but I'm trying to film as much of it as I can. I could just work on it and not say anything and not film it, but I know a lot of you out there like whenever I film every little thing, right? So we're trying to at least film some of the cool stuff as we work through it, just so you get an idea. I think a lot of people get the misconception that we just breeze right through them and fix everything and it ain't no deal and bam, bam, that's that and we're done. It's not like that. You go through these things, we work on them for hours and hours and hours until we get them right. Our buddies at the Goat Shed in Australia, watch some of their stuff. It takes a ton of time to go through one of these. This is not a 4-hour job. This is, you know, I hate putting a number of hours on it because then people try to figure out math and stuff, you know. It takes a long freaking time to get one of these right. Remember, we painted some of the playfield and everything else. Think about that. You got to do all the work cleaning the playfield. You got all those relays you got to clean. You got to fix whatever's broke. You got to do light bulbs. You got to do switches. You got to mess with coils. And then you got to troubleshoot stuff. Then you get to the stuff where the logic is so freaking complex, it's hard to follow even on a piece of paper. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. I get people all the time saying, man, I can't tell what the hell you're talking about. It's just ons and offs. It's just open switches and closed switches, but it's complex. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then once you get that score motor with all of the timing going on this game, they're opening up switches to cancel switches that are closing as the score motor's turning. What the hell? I mean, that's just, wow. I mean, I'm sure they do it on most of them, but that's really next level stuff, really, you know, just to control as that score motor turns around and it's going to give you 100 points every time it impulses. We don't want it to be 500 points. Let's make it 300 points. So they just put switches in that open twice so that two of them are canceled. Just next level stuff, you know. So we'll get back on it next time. Leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. I hope you enjoyed it so far. And don't forget to check out my brother Donnie. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube. We work on arcade games, pinball machines, and jukeboxes. My brother Donnie works on old vehicles, old buildings, and he has a farm with cows and goats. He's like old McDonald, but he's old McDonnie. So go check out my brother Donnie. The link's down below. I'll see you over there on his channel. I'm over there with him a lot. And we'll see you back next time when we'll see if we can get this thing finally wrapped up.